Jin Sakai was a teenager when he witnessed his father's death. Later, he would be unofficially adopted by his uncle, Lord Shimura. As his ward, Jin was trained to become a samurai and served at Shimura's side. When faced with the task of defending their homeland from invasion, they failed. Shimura and his army fell to the Mongol invaders. This turn of events forces Jin back to square one, and from that moment, we, the player, embark on this journey together. Although we're never given any specific details about Jin's past, we know two things. His mother died from illness, and his father was murdered by bandits. We're shown that even in adulthood, Kazumasa's death still weighs heavy on Jin. During the prologue, after Jin retrieves his sword, the player is shifted to a flashback that doubles as a training session. With great confidence, young Jin introduces himself as nephew to the great Lord Shimura, and it isn't until he appears that we're informed the sword belonged to Kazumasa. Jin is reminded of the Sakai clan legacy. Meanwhile, his confidence breaks as he's unable to make eye contact and remains quiet. After their sparring session, Shimura asks Jin to recite the code of Bushido, to which Jin replies with his father's words. Afterwards, we cut back to an adult Jin embracing his family's blade. Now the bridge. After falling to what should have been his second death, we are treated to another series of flashbacks. First, we see his father's death as Kazumasa calls out to Jin, who's unable to move out of fear. Then we cut to the funeral. It's at this point we're introduced to Yuriko. She pulls Jin away from his father's shrine and informs him that it's time to greet everyone. He tries to avoid it, but she shoots down the notion, reminding him that he's now heir to the Sakai clan legacy. The stairs themselves are almost symbolic of having to walk uphill to face our fears, and along the way he meets characters whom he will eventually help as an adult. Throughout the game, Jin is mostly unwilling to address the past, only mentioning his father to Lady Masako in an attempt to console her own grieving. Eventually, Jin rescues Lord Shimura. After they push the Mongols away, Shimura addresses the fact that Jin has abandoned their code to fight the enemy. This sets up an ensuing conflict between the two of them, and also furthers Jin's arc of becoming the ghost. They ride into Toyotama, and the Lord assigns Jin the task of retrieving his father's armor, forcing him to face what he's been avoiding for most of his life. It's when Jin arrives at his family's estate that we're reintroduced to Yuriko. Her character serves as a bridge between two generations of Sakai. During their initial conversation, she mentions that Jin refused to wear the armor at Komoda Beach. During a moment with the groundskeeper, it's revealed that Jin hasn't been home in quite some time. This could simply be referencing the amount of time that has passed since the opening battle. But given how Jin has been avoiding his trauma throughout, I think it's safe to guess he's been neglecting the estate. It's fairly evident that Jin keeps himself busy to avoid giving his thoughts any time to wander. However, we're given a moment to reflect on legacy at Kazumasa's grave. This is a crucial piece for our protagonist that also serves as foreshadowing, setting up his final battle. Then the big moment comes for Jin to retrieve his armor. Despite having cheated death twice, he is visibly uneasy. He inches slowly towards the armor with a look of fear and flinches, causing the mask to fall. He slowly and reluctantly reaches for it, sees his father's death one more time, and wears the mask, embracing Clan Sakai. From here, we do a series of quests centered around Yuriko. After defeating a group of Ronin, the two of them sit and talk by the tree where Jin used to train. He asks her for poison. Yuriko reluctantly agrees, but tells Jin it isn't the Sakai way. She points out how war has changed him, to which he cynically replied, "The world has changed." From this moment going forward, this conflict of ideals plays an integral part of the story, both to Jin as an individual and the island of Tsushima as a whole. The following quests serve as busy work, preparing Jin and educating the player for what comes next. However, for the first time, we see Jin open up. There's clearly a hierarchy in place that both of them are fully aware of and abide by. However, in this instance, Yuriko almost serves the purpose of parent. She's been in service to the Sakai family since before Jin was born. She cared for Jin's mother during her pregnancy and eventually himself. Because of this, he's known her longer than anyone outside of his parents. During their journey together, Jin opens up about his past and his family. They laugh, they tease, and for the first time in the game, Jin lets his guard down. It's during this time that Jin learned his father had imagination. Up to this point, Jin's ideology of how to carry himself in battle has been solely based on the samurai code and his uncle's strict adherence to it. Upon learning that Kazumasa and Shimoda would disagree often, and that Kazumasa might have even supported Jin's tactics, there's a notion of validation. Not from Yuna or Taka, but his own family. Even in regards to the brutality that Jin has to adopt, Kazumasa shared a similar experience being mistaken for a demon by his own men. Eventually, we figure out that Yuriko is slowly dying. During her final moment, she confuses Jin for Kazumasa, and it's at this time he discovers the two of them shared a relationship. He's confused and scared, but Jin makes the decision to stand by her side. They sit at the edge of the mountain and oversee the land of Tsushima. They share one final conversation before Yuriko passes away. It's unceremonious and never directly acknowledged, but this is the moment. Standing on this mountain, overlooking the island, is when Jin accepts the past. He's learned from it. His father is no longer a ghost to hide from, but an ideal to strive towards. Overlooking the long battle that lays ahead, he wears the armor and symbol of Sakai proudly. Carrying his father's blades and holding on to Yoriko's knowledge, Jin is prepared to do whatever is necessary to protect his people. This is the true birth of Ghost and the rebirth of Jin Sakai.